Hello everyone, and welcome to our FAQ Borrower Master Template webinar. My name is Derek Young. I am a professional consultant and trainer at Calyx. We also have with us Dora Ennis, who is also a professional consultant and trainer at Calyx, and will be helping answer some of the questions. First, we're going to start off by doing a Borrower Master Template presentation, and then we'll open up the floor for questions. So let's go ahead and jump into point and start working on some Borrower Master Templates. Before we get started, a Borrower Master Template contains basic loan information that you can apply to a loan to save data, time entry, and reduce errors. You can create a Borrower Master Template and apply it to a loan to populate the basic loan information for the type of loan being processed. The Borrower Master Templates also allow you to create or set up loan checklist, add a unique loan status to your workflow, or import a Borrower Master Template into an existing or unpopulated loan file. The first place that we're going to go is the navigation panel, and on the left, to the very bottom, you will see a tab that says Templates in orange. We'll go ahead and click that tab. And so the template that we're going to be working with today is the Borrower Master Template. So over in the navigation panel, you'll see our Borrower Master radio button. So I'll go ahead and select that. The Borrower Master is going to be a blank file that you can open and allows you to enter defaulted loan information into different screens. This can be very helpful if you're going to be disclosing. You can put pre-populated information into different sections that will flow over to your disclosures. So this will make the process a lot more efficient and quicker. You can also put in a loan checklist that helps to keep your team in a workflow and also be able to report on that as well. It also helps you if you're using the document request feature, which will allow you to send an email to your borrower. All of those are inside of the Borrower Master Templates that we can set up. So first, I want to go back into a file and show you what a fully built out template might look like inside of a loan file. So I'm back on the borrower information screen to show you some sections that can be defaulted in the Borrower Master Templates. So when I open up my file here, some of the things that I'll notice that are filled in from my Borrower Master Template initially would be my loan checklist over here to the very far right. If you don't have a template built out, this section will normally be empty. So this is something that I will cover later on in our training. And up at the top right hand corner, you'll see our update status. I can click this and see some of the statuses and if I've added any unique statuses. For example, I've added a pre-qualification status to my list. Some other items you might notice are some checkboxes. This one is marked for cash out or the mortgage insurance screen. That will be pre-populated with the canceling at or the check marks in the midpoint payment cancellation screen. So that's just a couple of screens that you can customize inside of your Borrower Master Template. So I'm going to go ahead and do a file close out of this loan file. And to start a Borrower Master Template, what you're going to do is over in your navigation panel, you're going to scroll down to the very bottom, the last tab in orange that says Templates. We'll go ahead and click that. And in the navigation panel, you'll see that my radio button is selected to Borrower Master. So that's where we're going to leave it. And here's where you can see all the Borrower Master Templates that I have created and where they're housed. But first, I am going to start a brand new Borrower Master Template. And to do that, we'll click the new button up here in the middle at the top. And once I click on new, this is going to open up a blank screen. This is pretty much a blank loan application inside of Point, which will allow you to enter in specific loan information that you want to be defaulted inside of your loan file. Now, of course, this will save you keystrokes and time for your processors and underwriters to have a lot of this information defaulted that you generally have to type into every single one of your loans. So next, I'm going to scroll and I'm going to show you a few sections and areas inside of Point that you might want to default in your Borrower Master Template. So let's start with an FHA purchase. So here in the loan summary section, you'll see that we have several checkboxes. In the middle here, we do have the checkboxes for purchase and refinance. So if this were a refinance, I could select refinance, and you'll notice that the no cash out, the limited cash out, and cash out checkboxes on gray, as well as the other. And if this is checked, this will allow you to type in what other type of refinances that you might have. But for this one, we're going to select purchase. Below that, you want to be sure that you select your lien position and your loan position. And then over here on the very far left, this is going to be your loan type. So currently mine is selected to conventional, and I do want to select FHA. The next thing that I would do is go down to the bottom and click on our mortgage insurance button. When I click on our mortgage insurance button, we will get this pop-up box. And the first thing you'll want to do for an FHA loan is to go ahead and type in or enter in the upfront mortgage PMI. So that would be entered here in this drop down. So I could go ahead and enter in my 1.75. This way it's defaulted and my LOs don't miss key or have to guess what the upfront is. Same thing for the annual. You will come down here and type in your annual rate as well as the number of months. Now for your upfront PMI and your annual, these are drop downs. So if you had multiple upfront rates that you wanted to have populated in the drop downs from your LOs to choose from, you could set that up in our utilities menu bar. So I'm going to go ahead and hit OK and scroll up to our utilities option in the menu bar. And from here, scroll down to our drop down list option. And then from here, we're going to select the mortgage insurance. So it's split up to initial and renewal. So for your initial, you can open up this section here, and this is where you can enter in those upfront rates that are selectable in the drop down menu. Same thing for your annual. So if I hit OK and go back to our utilities drop down in the menu bar, go back to our drop down list and back to the mortgage insurance, and this time select renewal. This is where you can add in multiple renewal percentages. Let's just add one more. Okay, once you add them here and hit OK, if we go back to our mortgage insurance button, that's how we're able to populate the drop downs for your LOs to be able to choose the exact annual percentage rate or the exact upfront PMI rate that you want to use. Okay. So this screen does look a little different than your normal screen when you're inside of a loan file. Over in the navigation panel, you can see that we're lacking any of our forms to select over here on the left hand side. You can still select your forms. To do that, we're going to select the forms option in the menu bar at the top. And once I click on forms, this is your list. So this is how you can get around to different sections and screens that are available inside of your borrower master template. So you can go through the loan application. You can go through each section if you wish to default information in there. I'm going to go through and show you the most common defaults that you may need if you're disclosing or if you're processing. The first screen that I always like to go to is the Truth in Lending Reg Z. So for the Truth in Lending Reg Z screen, I like to scroll down just a little bit here to what I like to call the insurance area, which would be this section. So this section here is going to populate over to the bottom of your loan estimate. So if you are disclosing, this is a good screen to come to fill out this information. Now back over on our forms tab, the other screen that I like to go to is going to be the fees worksheet. Now we will not be entering any fees on the fees worksheet inside of a borrower master template. There's a separate template that we covered in our last session called the closing cost scenario template, where you can default those fees. The reason we've come to this screen is we want to default a couple of different items. First, we want to enter in our time zone into the lock expires and cost expires section. Another area is back up at the top, the disclosure type. You do want to select TRID or GFE. The majority of you are going to be using TRID, so you can leave that selected. If you look over to the right, you have a loan estimate, and there are several checkboxes with standard, form, and alternative. If you're doing a purchase, you do want to make sure that the standard checkbox is selected. And if you're doing a refinance, you do want to be sure that the alternative checkbox is checked. And then right below that, we have the confirm receipt checkbox. This is going to provide a signature line on the loan estimate if you do check that. So if you do want to have a signature line, you do want to have this checked. Now let's go back up to the top and click on our forms tab in the menu bar. And the next screen that is most common to default is the written list of service providers. Again, if you're disclosing, this is a good screen to fill out and default. First, you have the option with the checkbox up top to print with the written list of service providers without fees. So you do not have to put the fees inside of the written list of service provider screen anymore. So if you do want to do that, you can go ahead and click that checkbox And that way we can proceed down to the section below, which is the service provider section. This section acts like an address book for the actual written list of service providers below. You would click add and add your company information. I'm going to use my Cardex database by clicking the icon over here to the far right. And what this does is open up my Cardex database and allow me to select one of my entries that I've saved in my Rolodex inside a point and populate that information into this section. Once you have your information there, you'll click the Save and Close button. And now, below in the Services section, this is where you're going to add the actual service they provide. You'll click on the Add button, and on the Services line, this is what they are actually providing. So for this example, I'm going to use that this is a title company, so I'm going to add in the words title services. If you check that box above to print without fees, you can skip the estimate line. And then the provider drop down will show you all of the companies that you've listed up top. So you can go through and add all of your companies up top. Title companies, survey, credit, AMC, depends on what you want to have on your written list of service providers. And then come to this section and those services and then match them with the provider. This bottom section is what will actually print on the written list of service providers for you. Now moving back up to the top to the Forms tab in the menu bar again, the next form that I like to populate is the closing cost worksheet. So if you're sending out the closing disclosure, this one is similar to the LE. It has a confirm receipt checkbox. So if you're sending out the closing disclosure and you do want the closing disclosure to have a signature line, this would be a good spot to come and default for yes to be sure that that signature line has been added to your closing disclosure. Another form that you may use if you're processing is going to be in our Forms tab down here towards the bottom, which would be the request for title commitment form. This screen down at the bottom, you're able to put in special instructions. In mine here, I have listed all of the items that I would want from title. This is a common list that processors will usually send over. So rather than making your processor type it in over and over again in this section, you could put it directly on the title request form inside of your borrower master template. And another form that we have in here that you may want to default is going to be our 4506T and C, and you'll find those if we scroll down towards the bottom again here. You can set some default information in here as well. You can set the type of transcript as well as the years in the boxes, allowing you to update and not have to type them each and every time you request the form endpoint. We're going to move over to the track option in the menu bar and select the option for status. This top area is your loan progress section. These are your loan statuses that are inside a point. Prospect all the way down to canceled here are hard coded into the system, so you're not able to delete, change, or rearrange these. But they do have spaces below that are blank and will allow you to add your own custom statuses. As you can see, I've created a custom status for pre-qualification. You can simply do that by double clicking on the line item. If I wanted to add a status for withdrawn, which I'll type in now, and click OK, it's now an added status within inside of my template. Below that, we have the third-party documents and the document request. These two lists will combine inside a point and become your loan checklist. That displays on the right side of your screen in every loan file that you're in. But this is a great way for you to keep track of items that you have requested for due dates and when you have received items. Rather than having to keep a paper checklist next to you on your desk, you can have it right inside a point, and it becomes reportable and others can see when things have been ordered and or received. So you will go through and you can add in your document names. There are several provided for you in the third-party document section already. And if you do want them to show up in all of your lists, you will check the far left required checkboxes, and that will put it inside of your loan checklist inside of the borrower master template. Moving down a little bit further, the document request section works in the same way. You would double click the line item and you would need to select a document category, a document type, and then the document description is where you can enter in what you actually want to see on the checklist. And the same thing with the required checkbox on the left. If you want to see them in your loan checklist automatically, you would check that box and it will show up for you. After you've done all this work, you do want to be sure that you've saved it. So I'll go up to File and click Save. And then you can go ahead and close out of your template. From here, I'm going to show you how to build out some of our most common template types efficiently. I'll show you how to copy and show you how to rename them as well. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, so on our pipeline right now, we can see the conventional purchase template that we've been working with. But let's say that we needed to make a conventional refinance template as well. Well, the easiest way to do that is to copy the conventional purchase template that you see here on your list. So up in the top right hand corner, I'm going to click the copy button. When this dialog box pops open, what you want to do is rename this template to your conventional refinance. So I'll just come in here and take out this first portion and change purchase to refi. Okay. Once you've named your additional template, you'll hit OK. And once that template has been made and stored on the server, it will populate here on your list. Once it shows up on your list, you'll see that conventional refi. And now we can double click, or we could click open to open up this master template. Now keep in mind, because we copied the conventional purchase template, this is going to be a duplicate of the conventional purchase template. But we want to come in here and make the minor tweaks and changes to make this a refinance. Okay. So the first thing that we'll do is we're going to come down here and change this from purchase to refinance in our loan summary section. Okay. Of course, if it was a no cash out, limited cash out, you would check whatever would be applicable here. You do want to be sure that your loan type is matching the loan type that you're trying to build this master template for. So we will check this to conventional. Okay. And let's double check our mortgage insurance. I'm going to clean this one up a little bit for our conventional. We do not have upfront. We do have our cancel at 78%, and we do not have PMI for our conventional. Okay. So I'm going to hit OK because I've got my mortgage insurance updated here. And the next section that I'll go to is the Forms tab in the menu bar. And again, the first screen I like to go to is the Truth in Lending Reg Z. On this screen, we'll scroll back down to that insurance section that we looked at before, which is here. So the only thing that I would need to change in this particular borrower master template for my conventional refinance would be the security section. So up here, it's checked to the goods or property being purchased. And then we have a checkbox for real property you already own. So for the refinance, you want to be sure that the checkbox is checked for real property you already own. And you do want to uncheck the goods or property being purchased. Okay. Once you've done that, I'd like to go back up to my Forms tab. And then I'm going to go to my fees worksheet. Again, we're not entering any fees here for this screen. We're just worried about making sure that this is set to a refinance to match our other screen. So in the very far right hand, we do have our checkboxes. Right now it's checked to standard form, which is for your purchase. So we do want to make sure this is checked for alternative here. Okay, I've got my confirm receipt checked for yes, because I do want a signature line on the LE. And my purpose drop down needs to be changed as well from purchase to refinance. The next thing that I want to do is I want to come down to my lock expire section and set my time zones. So I'm Central Standard Time. And we'll go ahead and say 5 p.m. up here as well. All right. Then what I want to do is I want to do a file save. Once I save, I'll do a file close. Okay. And we now have a template built for a conventional purchase and a conventional refinance. But let's say that you do FHA loans as well. Well, we're going to follow the same process, and I am going to copy my conventional refinance, and we're going to rename this to our FHA refinance. We'll just say FHA refi. Again, once that template loads on the server, you'll see it here. I'm going to double click on my FHA refi. And again, we're going inside of the master template to make the changes so this actually reflects. Okay. So we want to be sure that the checkbox is checked to refinance, in which it is. Our loan type needs to be changed from conventional to FHA. Okay. Let's just double check our mortgage insurance. Okay. So this is still reading the mortgage insurance from a conventional loan type. So we do want to change this to read FHA. So for FHA, we do have an upfront percentage. For our PMI, I have 1.75. Okay. We will take out the cancel out rate because that doesn't apply to an FHA loan. And then for the FHA loan, I do want to put a annual rate down here of 0.83%. Okay. And then for this one, the PMI or the mortgage insurance will be for 360 months. The duration of the loan term. Okay. Now I've made those changes. I can hit OK to save those. After that, I'm going to go back up to the Forms tab in the menu bar again and go to my Truth in Lending Reg Z. We'll scroll back down to that insurance section again. And this time for our FHA loan, we need to make some additional changes. First, with the assumption, this is checked to may not. For our FHA loans, our VA loans, and our USD loans, they may be subject to conditions. So we need to change that checkbox here. The next thing that we would need to change is the late payment and the percentage rate here. Okay, so the 5% was for my conventional. For my FHA, I need to change this to my 4%. Okay. And since this is a refinance, the security section is already letting us know that this is checked for refinance with the real property you already own checkbox being checked. Okay. So let's go back up to our Forms tab. And this time we'll go back to our fees worksheet just to confirm that this screen is set up for refinance as well. And what you'll notice as you keep copying the files, the less things you'll have to enter and the less clicks you'll have to make. As you can see, because I copied a refinance master template, this fees worksheet is already set to refinance alternative form, and it copied over my time zone and time, so I'm not having to retype that information again. So at this point, we can do a file save. We'll do a file close. And let's go ahead and make an FHA purchase. I'm going to click on the FHA refi. I'm going to hit our copy button again. We're going to rename this. So I'm going to take out this first portion here, and we're going to change refinance to purchase. We're going to hit OK. All right, and there's our FHA purchase. Let's go ahead and open that one up and make the minor changes we need to make inside of here. All right, so let's scroll down. So as you can see, as we start copying, there's less changes we have to make. This is already set to refinance. This is already set to an FHA. Let's check our mortgage insurance. Our mortgage insurance is set to FHA, so nothing needs to be changed here. So now we can go back to our Forms tab, and let's go back to our Truth in Lending Reg Z. And if we scroll down to that declaration section, or my insurance section as I would like to call it, our assumption is staying the same for our FHA loan, and so is the percentage at 4%. What is changing is the security. This is our purchase now. So we want to uncheck the real property you already own and check the goods or property being purchased for our purchase. Okay, let's do a file save. And then we're going to go back up to our Forms tab and to the fees worksheet. And we want to be sure that this screen is mimicking the purchase that we just changed this template to. So on this screen, the first thing we want to do is we want to make sure that the standard form checkbox is checked for our purchase. And then we want to come down to our purpose drop down and make sure that we change this from refinance to purchase. Again, everything else that we've typed in is copied over. So we can hit file save, and we can do a file close, and we can continue making templates. If I wanted to make our VA template, I could copy at this point the conventional template or the FHA purchase. But at this point, to make it easier for you, if you're going to make your VA purchase, it's best to copy a purchase template, whether it be conventional purchase or FHA purchase. Therefore, you're not having to make those defaulted changes again. So I'm going to use my FHA purchase to create my VA purchase template. I'm going to hit copy again, and we're just going to rename this. So I'm going to take this front part out, change that to VA purchase, hit OK. All right, and then we've got our VA purchase. Let me go ahead and open that one up real quick, and we'll make the minor changes that we need to make to our VA. So back under our loan summary section, I'm going to change this to purchase. And I'm going to come over here and change this to VA for the loan type. And then let's go ahead and check on our mortgage insurance. So we do know that this does change for our VA loans. I'm going to put 3% up front. I'm going to go ahead and take this out for our annual. Okay, our cancel at rate is out. So mortgage insurance looks good for VA. I'll hit OK. I'll go back up to our forms tab and back over to our truth in lending reg Z screen. We'll scroll back down to our insurance section here. And because this is still a government loan, there's nothing that we need to change here for the assumption. This is still may be subject to conditions. It's still a 4% rate. And this is our purchase. So the goods and property being purchased checkbox is already checked. This screen is good to go. Now I'm going to go back up to the forms tab and to my fees worksheet. And again, because I copied from a purchase template to make this one, the purchase defaults are already set here. So my standard form checkbox is checked, and the purchase option is selected in my purpose drop down. So this one is complete. We can do a file save and a file close. So as you can see, it gets faster and faster as you get better maneuvering around the system, and as you keep copying the listings you have to default. So I'm going to make one more template for us. Let's go ahead and make our VA refi. So I'm going to use my VA purchase. I'm going to copy that one again. We're going to rename this one. So we'll take out the beginning portion and add in the refi and hit OK. Let's go ahead and double click the VA refi and make our changes that we need to make. Okay, so the first thing we'll do is come down to our loan summary section. We'll change this from purchase to refinance. It's already set to VA because we copied a VA master template. So that means our mortgage insurance should be that of a VA, in which it is. So we are good to go here. Let's go up to our forms tab again and back to our truth in lending reg Z. We'll scroll back down to the insurance section. And again, this is a government loan, so our assumption area is correct, may be subject to conditions. The 4% is correct. But for the refinance, we do need to change the checkbox here. So under our security section, we're going to uncheck the goods of property being purchased and check the real property you already own. We'll do a file save. We're going to go back to our forms tab and take a look at our fees worksheet to make sure that this is reflecting that of a refinance. And it is not, so we need to make those minor changes. So over here to the very far right, I'm going to check the checkbox for my alternative form for refi. And in my purpose drop-down box, I'm going to select the option for refinance. I'm going to go ahead and do a file save, a file close. And we were able to build out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 templates within 5 minutes. So that's how quickly you can get those templates in. And once you get those templates in, let me show you how to import them into a loan file or start a loan file with a borrower master template. So I'm going to go over to our loans tab here. And when I'm ready to start a brand new loan, I like to come over here and click on the new button. When I click on new, the radio button is defaulted to start a new blank file, but there is a third radio button that says new file for master template, and displayed here are all of the borrower master templates that we just created. So if I wanted to start a template off with a master template with all of those defaults set, I could choose the template that I would like. Let's say I want to do my FHA purchase. I would select OK. And as you can see, it's opening up a blank loan file. However, it already has my defaulted checkboxes and data for FHA. FHA, refinance, my mortgage insurance is already set, as well as my Truth in Lending Reg Z, my fees worksheet, all those things are good to go. Okay. Now, if I wanted to import it into an existing loan file, let me go ahead and close out of this file. So this is really going to be beneficial for those of you who have our Zip, our online application product. So let's say that this is a Zip application that I've imported into my point software that does not have a borrower master template attached to it, but I want to import my borrower master template into this existing loan file. What I would do is, of course, open up the loan file. I would go to File, Import from, Borrower Master File. This is going to show you a list of all the borrower master templates that you created. And if I wanted to import my conventional refinance template, I could double click that. It says data has imported. If I hit OK, we can scroll down to our loan summary section, and everything has been changed. So this is now a conventional refi. My mortgage insurance should be that of a conventional with my cancel at rate. If I were to go to my forms and go to my Truth in Lending Reg Z and scroll down to that insurance section, this should be filled out with the defaults that I set in my borrower master template, in which it is. So that is how borrower master templates are created, edited, copied, imported into an existing loan file, or started with a brand new loan file. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to our dedicated customer service at calixdcs@calixsoftware.com.